so much fun, Todd, I got to tell you, against the Brazilian national team. And here's Clark before the game talking about how she could not wait to make even more magic happen in the arena where her legend grew.
They tried to rough up Caitlin, not rough up Caitlin. They tried to be physical with Caitlin. They tried to bully her. They tried to bully her on the inside early in that game. She wasn't moving.
A WNBA reporter just claimed Caitlin Clark only beat Brazil because they were tired from travel. But why were Brazilian players lining up for Clark's autograph after getting destroyed on the court? In today's video, I'm exposing the ridiculous excuses being made to downplay Clark's dominance. The same rookie who's putting up numbers that have the entire league shook is now being told her win doesn't count. The disrespect is real, and I've got the receipts to prove it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You know what's crazy? A WNBA reporter named Roberta is out here making excuses for why Caitlin Clark dominated Brazil. But the facts tell a completely different story.
I mean, come on.
And I didn't know they were going to do this. This was a complete surprise to me, but I think, and then the fashion in which I broke the record, it seems like really deep now that I'm back here now, and I said that after the game. I kind of went up to them like, are you sure that's the correct spot? But
Roberta claimed the Brazilian team lost because they were tired from travel and jet lag, not because Clark was actually good. But while Roberta was busy making these weak excuses, the Brazilian players themselves were doing something that totally destroys her story. Those same exhausted players were literally lining up after the game, asking for Clark's autograph on their jerseys. Does that sound like a team that was too tired to play? No way. Clark was hitting those crazy long-range shots that put her on the map. She was making plays all over the court and showing why she's the rookie everyone can't stop talking about. The Indiana Fever isn't just Clark either. They're a much stronger team than people give them credit for. Fans online are calling out Roberta hard. Comments like "shut up" and "get out of our country" are flooding her mentions because people see through these excuses. The video shows Brazilian players were playing, taunting, dancing, partying away. That's not what too tired to compete looks like. The Brazilian players were smiling, energetic, and excited to be on the same court as Clark. They were happy to be in Iowa and seemed thrilled just to be there. That's not a team that's making excuses about jet lag. The truth is simple.
For a preseason WNBA game, and the Indiana Fever was on fire, defeating the Brazil national team by almost triple the score.
I'm grateful for, there's a lot of places that support women's basketball. Probably not as good as here. I truly believe this is the best place in the country to play basketball.
Sometimes a team just gets beat by better players. That's exactly what happened when Clark and the Fever faced Brazil. This reporter really did bash Clark for dominating, but all the evidence shows the Brazilian team was excited, not exhausted. Her whole narrative falls apart when you actually look at what happened. Let's talk about what Caitlin Clark actually did on the court that has everyone talking and this reporter making excuses. In her first game of the 2025 season, Clark didn't just play well. She sent a message to the entire WNBA that she's not just hype. While critics like Roberta try to downplay her performance, the numbers and highlights tell a completely different story. Clark was hitting those signature deep three-pointers that made her famous in college. These weren't just regular threes. These were shots from way beyond the WNBA line that had fans jumping out of their seats every time she pulled up. The arena went crazy when those shots dropped. She wasn't just scoring either. Her court vision was incredible. Clark was making passes that created scoring chances her teammates didn't even know were there. The Brazilian defenders looked confused, trying to figure out where she was going with the ball. You know what makes this even crazier? The Brazilian team is full of professional players who've been playing together for years. Meanwhile, Clark is still getting used to the pro game, and she made them look lost on defense. This was just a preseason game. Clark wasn't even playing at full intensity, and she still took over the floor.
Fans are here to watch Caitlin Clark. She certainly has not disappointed in this first quarter.
My senior year, The play kind of got ruined. Molly Davis and Hannah Stolke were involved. Hannah Stolke pitched it back and got her on a shot fake. Step back work.
Fans in the arena were losing their minds with every play. Even some Brazilian players got caught watching in amazement when she made those incredible shots. They couldn't help themselves. Clark's performance was extraordinary. She showcased her range, vision, and basketball IQ in a way that has the entire league on notice. All these excuses about travel fatigue are just desperate attempts to explain what everyone watching that game already knows: Caitlin Clark is the real deal. No amount of jet lag explains what happened on that court. Imagine being so good that the team you just beat wants your autograph. That's exactly what happened with Caitlin Clark and the Brazilian team. According to Roberta, these players were supposedly too tired from travel to perform well against Clark and the Fever. But the actual footage of the Brazilian players tells a completely different story that makes the reporters' claims look ridiculous. After getting beaten on the court, these players weren't dragging themselves to the locker room exhausted. They were excitedly asking Clark to sign their jerseys like fans. The video shows Brazilian players smiling, laughing, and genuinely excited to meet Clark. That's not the reaction of athletes who feel they lost unfairly because they were too tired.
NBA announced that some of the preseason games would feature star players playing back at their college arenas. The biggest of those matchups, no doubt, was with the biggest star, Caitlin Clark, playing here in Iowa.
They had nothing. They could not do anything today when it came to Caitlin Clark. Because if you guys did not see this game, they tried.
Some Brazilian players were even taking selfies with Clark after the game. Does that sound like a team making excuses about being tired? No way. Their coach never even mentioned travel fatigue in the post-game press conference. Instead, he praised Clark's talent and admitted his team couldn't contain her. That's just being honest about what happened. You know what else? The Brazilian team had 2.5 days of camp before the game. That's plenty of time to adjust to any time difference. Another fact Roberta conveniently ignored when making her excuses. The Brazilian players' own actions prove they weren't making travel excuses. They were honored to play against Clark and recognized her superior skill. When the players themselves are acting like fans after the game, it completely destroys the narrative that they only lost because they were tired. These players weren't mad about losing. They were excited to share the court with a rising star. That tells you everything you need to know about what really happened in that game. The facts don't lie here.
Here comes Clark in transition. Clark, pull up three. You bet!
I'm excited. I mean, so many great memories in this place, so many amazing games, and I expect today to be another one of those.
Caitlin Clark dominated because she's been in the lab working on her game, not because Brazil was jet lagged. When players line up for autographs after losing, they're not making excuses. They're showing respect. Don't let reporters like Roberta create these fake stories to downplay what Clark is doing on the court. The game footage, the stats, and especially how the Brazilian players reacted after the game tell us what really happened. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's support honest basketball talk and celebrate greatness when we see it instead of making excuses when someone dominates.